Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your boy the Death Smasher, and welcome back to yet another Bleach Brave Souls video. And today is going to be a particular yet interesting one because I'm going to be documenting on every single version of Uryu Ishida that we have gotten in the game, from 2016, when the game first came out in July 23rd, all the way up to the current 7th anniversary of the game, which, as you guys all know, Uryu happened to be one of the anniversary characters alongside Ichigo. So I figure, why not do this? Grab some popcorn, get a nice glass of Coca-Cola, and enjoy the show.
終わらせるカスケータブリーチブレイブソウルズ残念だよ安らかに眠るがいい
So starting off the list of characters is the Mind Uryu. What's sad is that this type of Uryu is the only version we got from the Mayuri fight, and it's just so cool. The worst part about it is that he was regarded as the worst character of that year just because of how wonky the kit was. Only having one nab string with so little range was god awful, and his strong attacks for being an OG was not that good either. The ultimate all-rounder was a better character to use, and it didn't mark a good start for Uryu in terms of the 5-star versions. He does have dodge on the soul trait, so for back then, he used to be used in PvP since dodge was the meta back then, but again, there were just a lot better characters for his time to use over him. He would later get a 6-star version a couple of years later, where it would make the unit a bit buffed but nowhere near fun to play. Years later on, he did get a resurrection where he actually picked up Frenzy, but again, the character as an OG was never fun to play as. The Link didn't make it that much better either since it was paralysis resistance. And the crazy thing is that he is still by far the only unit in the game where he would have a delayed soul bomb, as in after the animation played out, it would fire an arrow, do a bit of damage, and then ignite and kill the rest of the mobs. I can understand why they did that kind of animation for Uryu, as it was very reminiscent of the fight against Mayuri, but let's be thankful that it was a one-time only thing and it never happened again.
すまない僕の勝ちだ
Now moving on to the Tech Uryu, this was a much better and improved counterpart from the Mind one, as now he did have a much better nat string where it now has 3 hits, and slightly better strong attacks. He still was an OG unit, but if you guys were playing in 2016, you guys would easily know that this was the better unit to use overall. However, just like the Mind Uryu, he did get a 6-star version years later, and unfortunately didn't give him much in terms of the skills. With a very low Berserker and Bruiser, and also having Bombardment with little range, there were just better 6-stars to use by the time he did get that treatment. Years later too, he did get resurrected, but randomly picked up the likes of Paralysis Resistance, again, which was pretty useless with the dodge link, and just a slight increase in Bruiser and Berserker, still making him unusable. It is an OG at the end of the day, so it is to be expected. Baby steps at the end of the day.
終わりだよ安らかに眠るがいい
Up next, we have the one and only Relax, I'm on your side, the Lost Ancient version of Uryu. He came out alongside Fullbring Ichigo and Ginjo, already having a 6-star version, and for his time, he was a solid option to use as a NAD unit since we did have flurry characters with Sprinter, where he had a 30% bruiser with 25% normal attack damage length. But unfortunately, he didn't last long as a character because months later, 6-armed Noitora came out, had Flurry and Sprinter, and just was the better NAD option to use. And ever since then, he was pretty much relegated to being a 25% normal attack damage link, and became an extremely annoying filler to pull from banners for a lot of people. He would get a resurrection alongside Fullbring Ichigo and Ginjo years later, after their initial release, and he only saw an increase in Bruiser where it got upped by a good 60%. a total of 85% increase in normal attack damage, and also picked up 12% damage reduction, making him an even better link to use for your power nat units. He was never going to be saved, seeing as how he didn't have a piercing nat string, and if they somehow made Uryu an SP unit, he would be a terrible one since he was filled with range collision on his entire kit. So yeah, Frenzy is not going to save him that. He's also a bonus for Chronicle quests, so it's worth noting that whether you like this character or not, you will need him to make the farm a lot easier and get the Transcendence Scrolls and everything that you need to transcend your characters. Now up next is the Frenzy Uryu. Wait, would I really call it an evolution? Whatever, I'm just documenting the unit. This is a free-to-play Frenzy version of the character, which, by the way, do not get confused into thinking this guy has Frenzy as a skill, because he does not. It's just the name that was given to these farmable free-to-play characters that have double soul traits. He was never really meant to be used as a playable character because, as you can see, the skills are nowhere near usable, seeing as he only had a 20% Bruiser and a 20% Berserker. Yet, funny enough, his kit was even more enhanced compared to the tech counterpart. Just that, again, the skills were not good. But he's definitely worth the farm since, for starters, he's free orbs. And secondly, he comes with 18% stamina recovery and 10% strong attack recharge, giving any one of your heart units a bit more survivability for PvE. And unfortunately, these free-to-play characters never get resurrections, so we're definitely not going to be expecting one at all. Finally, this Uryu broke the trend of all the bad ones we had ever gotten, and for his time, was a great character to use that had significant value. This is the Bond version of Uryu, which is technically a remake of the Lost Agent version of Uryu. Instead of making him a nat unit again, he is now a strong attack character with burn on everything and also has Frenzy. That being said, the kit wasn't exactly the greatest since he had a full-on ranged collision kit, a shave 18% strong attack on first, crawling vortex on the second, and a charged SA3, which is unique to this character that no one else has ever gotten since then. Now, if we're talking about today's meta, yes, he's going to be a really terrible character to use overall. But here's the thing, that said ranged collision kit back then turned out to be one of his strongest points in the game, primarily in guild quests, before it got revamped. The old GQ was a race to the finish with a main runner, you needed to clear through as fast as possible while also racking up 2999 combo and get the highest score possible. This Uryu, whenever he was a bonus, was good as a vortex unit to use as he had a 20 hit crawling vortex. And not to mention, since he had burn on his entire kit, that also meant that he was very good to use as a unit in Sinkamen quests. Transcendence back then was not a thing, and he came out in 2018, and having units with burn or poison was great for when you didn't have a particular unit to use for a specific floor. His third strong attack on top was a charged one and a unique type at that. If you don't charge it and unleash it as is, he fires an array of arrows in front. Fully charged, on the other hand, he would fire arrows in a full 360-degree angle, and on top of it, it just hits extremely hard, making him a very valuable hard character to use in epic raids for fast runs, especially when he was a bonus. And that did not stop him from being good. Even after guild quests got revamped in 2020, he was still a very useful character for ranged or Ronker when at 5/5. As it was very possible to get near sub 10 second runs on normal guild quests. Now, unfortunately, he's not as good as he once was for a lot of modes, and nowadays his kit is considered to be extremely bad and lacks Havoc and Berserker. He still has yet to get a resurrection alongside the Speed Chad and the Bond version of Ichigo, and should be happening shortly this year. I don't think his resurrection will save him too much, as so much has changed in the game that at the bare minimum, I only see him being saved in content such as epic raids, and that's just about it. On top of that, he's gonna be basically turned into a good link. That being said, another thing to point out is that he is also a bonus unit for Chronicle quests, just like the Power Uryu, so you're definitely gonna need this character if you want to farm Transcendence Scrolls.
シュリフト A アンチサーシス手立ちは不要だ
2 years later, we finally get another brand new Uryu. The game has drastically changed since then. Transcendence was now a thing. We were getting characters with Havoc at 20%, Berserker added on top of it, and the way of how a character plays has also changed, and we were getting brand new 1000-year Blood War characters. And with this, I present to you Stern Ritter A, the antithesis, 1000-year Blood War Uryu. On paper, he had really insane skills to eventually put him up to be a great character, especially for tech, as back then, the attribute was lacking hard compared to Heart, Power, Mind, and Speed, who just had better characters for that time. And unfortunately, even though he had 20% Havoc and 40% Berserker, the skills weren't enough to make him a good character. His first strong attack was a 40% shave, which would push back the mobs so hard it even surpassed Pain's almighty push. Second strong attack happens to be a vortex into pushback attack, so not all that great until you get more copies of him to make that strong attack good, and his third strong attack was full screen. Now, he does have guard break, meaning that all of his strong attacks were going to hit regardless, but sadly, he was shafted more so in terms of kit. The worst part is that he doesn't even have any status elements on his entire kit. That being said, he did get a brand new skill called Ailment Reversal, a skill that would allow him to reflect back any status element that an enemy does to Uryu and also heals himself. And on top of that, he can heal on the Soul Bomb. So back then, even though he wasn't the greatest technique character for PvE, for PvP, even without having invincibility, he was a very annoying foe to deal with, especially when at 5 out of 5 with 3-star stamina. If you had a unit inflicting a status element or using a Soul Bomb with a proc against Uryu, he would reflect it back and screw you over. And if Uryu got the Soul Bomb, he would heal back up and act like as if nothing ever happened. Nowadays for PvP, obviously he is going to get clapped by the likes of Safui Kanpachi and Kuriyashiki, as they have Flare plus 2 and don't have status elements. So Uryu can only heal on the Soul Bomb, and that's it. And for PvE, he was already replaced by the likes of the Technique Kusaka and Artbook Ichigo as Soul Reaper killers for Technique. It'll be a very long time until he gets a resurrection, and when that does happen, unfortunately he will not be saved since Caleb never changes the kit of a character. Not too long after the 1000-year Blood War version comes a brand new Uryu, right as soon as Caleb had finished making new 1000-year Blood War characters, and that is the Fierce Battle Uryu. Now, him being a premium mid-month character meant that he was not going to get Havoc, but is he a bad character? Far from it, actually. I'd still argue to say that this is what 1000-year Blood War Uryu should have been kit-wise, and of course, if he had Havoc, because he too has a 40% shave attack on the SA1, but thankfully, the strong attack did get revamped thanks to units such as the Tech Nini and the Orient Society or Hime, who came with a new ranged collision attack, where first, it would push back all the way from where it blasted to the side of the map, potentially leaving enemies still alive, to now only pushing back slightly, getting all the hits in, and consistently killing the mobs. Big improvement. He also got an 800 cone-shaped attack in front on the SA2 and a full-screen third strong attack. And the skills that he comes with were also pretty good, since he did come armed with Frenzy, Guard Break, hit underground enemies, and 40% Berserker. This guy was basically a mini Lilabato with a ranged collision SA1. You guys may even call him a mini Bruno as well, since he has the same kit as Uryu and the same skills. It's just that, again, no Havoc. He also does lack status elements, so if you want him to do really well in Inheritance Trials, you will need to get as much Transcendence as possible on him. And at worst, if a person didn't like this unit, he's a 14% strong attack recharge link for speed, for anyone out there to use. I do believe that this Uryu was heavily underrated upon release just because he did come out alongside Fierce Battle Zalapado, who was the worst character of 2021, and Fierce Battle Renji. They came out right after Daddy Ichigo and Rukia, and the banner was pretty dog water, so I can pretty much understand why this unit was heavily slept on.
あとは僕に任せてください。
Almost 5+ months later, K-Lab has begun the Spirits Are Forever With You collaboration for the game, and they gave us a brand new Uryu alongside Don Kanonji. And boy, K-Lab took a step forward and a good amount of steps back. This Uryu is yet another tech unit, and was the second Link Slot Potion character for farming speed pots in the game. And he was better than Can's Fare Your Own World Kenpachi, but that's it. As a unit, he was pretty bad upon release. Anyways, I'll at least give him the benefit of the doubt. Besides being a Link Slot Potion character, he did pick up Weakening and a Disabler against Speed Hollows, so for Inheritance Trials, if you don't have a better tech unit to use, he works. But good god is he bad. He has no guard break, only a 20% Berserker, and his kit just happens to be even worse than that of 1000-year Bloodlord Uryu's. His first strong attack was Dog Water. It's the same SA1 as Bambietta, where it's basically a 3-way split into an explosion, which is a 20% into a 60% type of attack. Without guard break, it's pretty bad because let's just say you're up against enemies that have range guard, they will not die. That's the bad thing about it. His second strong attack is a Crawling Vortex now. If he came out during the time of the old GQ, there would not be complaints about that, but nowadays, it's one of the worst strong attacks to exist. And his third is Full Screen. He has Havoc in case you guys were wondering, but yet again, K-Lab failed in giving us an OP limited Uryu. And the crazy thing is that he didn't last long as a pot unit since he easily got replaced by Christmas Orihime by December time of that year. And as a holo killer to use in every content, there was already better units to use, such as the Machine Society Nemu. Even the premium tech Rukia was better than Uryu, sadly. And to make matters worse, obviously, their Spirits Are Forever With You Retsu as well. A whole year has passed since the disappointment that was Spirits Are Forever With You Uryu, and finally, we get another new Uryu. And surprise! He's an anniversary character made for the 7th anniversary. For the first time ever, he was made into a melee character. And since he was made for the anniversary, they went all out and gave him the most busted skills and the most busted kit. With him having double status elements of Weakening and Drain, meant that he was going to be future-proofed for every single Inheritance Trials. Comes with Frenzy +2, Havoc at 20%, a 20% Berserker, and an additional 20% Berserker he gives out to himself in every single speed unit in the game, Long Stride, and Spurn +2, making him the fastest speed unit in the game, Guard Break and hit hidden enemies in one skill, making it impossible to miss with this character, and also has an increased status element chance against every power mob in the game. Being an anniversary unit also meant that he was getting double killers, and he picked up holo and no affiliation killers, making him a monster for both of those skill quest rounds overall. Now, Soul Bomb wise, because they prioritized in making his strong attacks more busted, it's not the strongest, but they still gave him a debuff, so it's still a threat to be reckoned with for content such as epic raids, since it does lower down the enemy's defense by a good 80% even if it's only for one wave. And speaking of strong attacks, he has a 3k length beam on the SA1. It's the same beam as 6th anniversary Aizen and Spirits Are Forever With You Retsu, as it also has a width of 1020. Pretty damn big beam, if I do say so myself. His SA2 is an 870 lunge, which then becomes a 1080 radius full screen lunge. It's very broken. Albeit, the mags are at 60%, but honestly speaking, bro, it's literally a freaking full screen lunge, plus he has those damn multipliers. Do you want more out of that? And his third strong attack, lastly, is full screen. He also comes with a new gauge mechanic, which takes a good bit of time to build up, but it is a nice little gimmick that they added for this character because when it's completely filled up, upon activating it, you get an additional 30% cooldown on the strong attacks you've used, gain an additional 100% Berserker, and 50% damage reduction for 10 seconds. making Uryu the hardest hitting unit in the game by far. Such a perfect character. This unit was made for the Uryu fans that wanted a broken version of him, and for once, he doesn't have any ranged collision attack. And everything about him from top to bottom is flawless. But there is one little flaw: he cannot nullify resistances, unlike the other anniversary characters we have gotten thus far. So for Extreme Co-op, you will need to use the 30% resistance reduction item if you want to even have a chance at killing every mob in Extreme Co-op. And in guild quests, he's not as valuable as the likes of, per se, 7th Anniversary Ichigo, Aizen, or Arcbook Ichigo, which is a bit unfortunate. But one thing is for sure, this is the best Uryu that we have in the game, and by far, the best speed character in the game. They killed 2 birds with 1 stone when making this character, and K-Lab delivered. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have all enjoyed this, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos. Now this video took a very long while to make since I had to write a whole script, voice my lines over it, and also get a large amount of gameplay for every 6-star Uryu that we have in the game. So if you guys enjoyed this and want to see a potential character evolution of Ichigo from 2016 all the way up to 2022 with his most recent 7th anniversary version, make sure this video gets over 1k views and over 50 likes, and that will more than likely happen in the future. Anyways, this has been your boy the Dash Smasher, and I am officially signing out. Take care lads, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out lads.